Welcome to our channel. If you've ever wondered which state quarters are worth big money, you're in the right place. Make sure to watch till the end, as we explore the rarest and most valuable state quarters that collectors dream about. The 2000 New Hampshire state quarter is more than just a coin, it's a symbol carved in stone, a reminder of America's enduring values, and a piece of history that fits in the palm of your hand. It might seem like just another quarter in your change jar, but what many people don't realize is that one of these coins, seemingly ordinary, became one of the most valuable state quarters ever discovered. Its journey from mint to marketplace is nothing short of remarkable. It all started as part of the United States Mint's ambitious 50 state quarters program, an initiative that forever changed the way Americans looked at the humble 25-cent piece. Introduced in 1999 and running until 2008, the program released 5 new quarter designs each year, each one representing a different state, in the order that they entered the Union. The designs were not just artistic, but symbolic, tiny windows into each state's identity, culture, and pride. New Hampshire's turn came in the year 2000. A state known for its rugged terrain, independent spirit, and fierce devotion to liberty. The design chosen for the coin reflected that perfectly, the image of the Old Man of the Mountain. This naturally occurring rock formation in Franconia Notch had long stood as a symbol of New Hampshire's strength and resilience. Shaped by time and nature, the cliff face eerily resembled the profile of a man, a stern, silent figure gazing out over the land. Etched above this image on the coin was New Hampshire's defiant state motto, "Live free or die." It's one of the boldest statements ever printed on U.S. currency, a phrase that embodies the state's unwavering dedication to personal liberty and self-determination. Below the image were the words, "Old Man of the Mountain," and the dates, 1788, the year New Hampshire joined the Union, and 2000, the year the coin was minted. All of it surrounded by delicate ridges, framed in the classic quarter design, yet holding a message far more powerful than its size would suggest. The coin was struck at 3 U.S. mint locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia and Denver coins were released into general circulation, while the San Francisco Mint produced special proof versions intended for collectors. These proof coins were struck using highly polished dies and were never meant to be spent. Their mirror-like finish and sharp details made them beautiful pieces for collectors to display and treasure. Across the 3 mints, over 1.1 billion New Hampshire quarters were produced. And that sheer number alone might make you think there's nothing rare or valuable about them. After all, how could something so mass-produced be worth more than face value? The answer lies in the details, the condition, the errors, the anomalies, and the story behind just one coin. While most of these coins found their way into circulation, becoming scratched, worn, and dinged through years of handling, a select few remained untouched. These were the coins tucked into mint rolls, locked in vaults, sealed in proof sets, or accidentally forgotten in change jars and safety deposit boxes. And among those few, an even smaller number were struck with such precision and clarity that they earned top grades from professional coin grading services, grades so rare, they immediately captured the attention of collectors everywhere. But condition wasn't the only factor that would propel one of these coins into numismatic legend. Some of the 2000 New Hampshire quarters emerged with extraordinary characteristics, subtle die varieties, small errors, unique strike anomalies, all of which made them stand out in a sea of billions. A double die here, a rotated reverse there, or the extremely rare instance of a transitional planchet, where the coin was struck on metal intended for a different denomination. Each flaw, instead of decreasing the value, elevated it, turning these coins into rare collectibles. One particular coin, a 2000 New Hampshire quarter, would become the crown jewel of this entire mintage. Its story didn't begin with fanfare. It was discovered quietly, by a dedicated coin collector who had spent years hunting through mint sets and rolls, always searching for perfection. When this coin came into their hands, there was something about it. The luster. The sharpness of the design. The fact that even under magnification, there were no contact marks, no blemishes, no flaws. It was a near-perfect specimen, and then came the surprise. This coin showed an incredibly rare and subtle doubling on the motto, "Live free or die." Barely visible to the naked eye, but unmistakable to anyone trained in the craft. This wasn't just a state quarter anymore. It was a new die variety. A discovery. The coin was sent off for professional grading, and the results stunned even the experts. Not only was it confirmed as a legitimate variety, but it also received a pristine grade, a flawless MS-70, a grade so rare that it's often reserved for only the most perfect coin struck under the most ideal conditions. Fewer than a handful of state quarters had ever achieved this distinction. The news traveled fast through the coin-collecting world. Forums lit up with discussions. Collectors across the country were checking their 2000 quarters, hoping they too had a similar gem. But none appeared. This one stood alone. A solitary star in a crowded sky. Eventually, the coin made its way to a prestigious numismatic auction. The excitement was palpable. Collectors and investors gathered, some in person, some online, all eager for the chance to claim this piece of history. The bidding started strong and didn't slow down. As the numbers climbed, so did the intensity. This was more than just a coin now. It was a symbol, of rarity, of beauty, of the possibility that even the smallest things in life can hold extraordinary value, and when the final bid came through, the room held its breath. The gavel fell. This single New Hampshire quarter, once worth just 25 cents, had sold for an astounding $55,000. It's proof that history can be hidden in your pocket. That beauty can be found in the smallest of places. And that sometimes, it's the coins we overlook that end up being the most valuable of all. So the next time you come across a quarter, take a second. Turn it over. Look at the details. Because who knows, maybe the next legendary coin is already in your hand, just waiting to be seen for what it really is. The 2004 Michigan State Quarter may seem like just another piece of pocket change, an ordinary coin easily overlooked as it passes through hands, vending machines, and cash registers. But in the vast sea of modern coinage, some coins are born to become legends. Their stories are not written in gold or silver, but in design, intention, mystery, and sheer, improbable rarity. And among those rare treasures, one Michigan State Quarter has emerged as an astonishing symbol of numismatic value, a coin so exceptional, it would go on to be worth tens of thousands of times its face value. This is the story of that coin that in the early 2000s, the United States Mint launched what would become one of the most successful and widely embraced public coin programs in American history, the 50 State Quarters program. Running from 1999 to 2008, the initiative aimed to celebrate each of the 50 states through specially designed quarters, released in the order that the states ratified the Constitution or joined the Union. It was a powerful way to bring history, geography, and art together, creating coins that were not just currency, but storytelling tools. In 2004, it was Michigan's turn to be honored. A state defined by water, by industry, and by its place in America's heartland, Michigan had much to represent in its quarter. The final design, chosen after a rigorous public input and vetting process, captured the state's defining geographic feature, its connection to the Great Lakes. The coin features a bold outline of the state of Michigan, set against a graceful depiction of all 5 Great Lakes: Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario. It's the only state surrounded by 4 of the 5 Great Lakes and split into 2 distinct landmasses, the Upper and Lower Peninsulas, and this coin captured that unique geography with clean lines and elegant minimalism. Rather than relying on a symbol or landmark, the Michigan Quarter chose to showcase nature's design, a decision that would lend the coin a timeless, almost meditative quality. It was a tribute to scale, to power, and to the state's deep historical bond with the waterways that shaped its economy, its people, and its identity. Underneath the design was simply "Great Lakes State," tying it all together with a label that says everything. The reverse design was created by Donna Weaver, a skilled artist and engraver, who worked closely with the U.S. Mint to translate Michigan's essence into metal. On the obverse side of the coin, George Washington remained the constant, the unifying face of the nation, designed by John Flanagan and preserved across all quarters in the series. His image, stoic and strong, grounded the ever-changing reverse designs in continuity. The 2004 Michigan quarters were minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, marked with a P, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, for the proof coins. While the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced coins for general circulation, millions and millions of them, the San Francisco Mint struck limited proof versions, including silver proofs, specifically for collectors. In total, over 450 million Michigan quarters entered the public domain, making the coin widely available and accessible. But as is often the case in the world of coin collecting, rarity is not always about low mintage. Sometimes, it's about perfection. And other times, it's about anomaly. The vast majority of Michigan quarters quickly showed signs of use, scuffs, nicks, edge wear, fingerprints. But a select few never made it into circulation. These coins were preserved straight from the mint, stored carefully by collectors or forgotten in unopened mint rolls, and remained untouched by time or human handling. These are the coins that become candidates for high-level grading, coins that could be designated as mint state, MS, and then, even more rarely, reach the higher levels, MS 67, MS 68, or the Holy Grail, MS 70. But even pristine condition is only part of the story. Occasionally, a coin is born different, through an error, a quirk, a slight deviation during the minting process. And it's these deviations, when authenticated and verified, that turn a beautiful coin into a true rarity. One such Michigan quarter, struck in 2004, had both. It was discovered by a seasoned collector, someone who knew how to spot something special, even in the most familiar places. As they examined the coin under magnification, they noticed an unusual but distinct doubling around the state outline and the Great Lakes, a rare die variety. But more than that, the coin was in immaculate condition. The fields were mirror bright, the reliefs were crisp, and there were no signs of contact, abrasion, or wear. It was flawless. The coin was submitted to a leading third-party grading service, where it underwent rigorous evaluation. The results sent waves through the coin-collecting world. The coin was certified with a perfect MS 70 grade, something incredibly rare for a modern circulating quarter. And the error, the doubled design, was confirmed as an authentic variety. This was no ordinary find. It was a perfect storm of condition, uniqueness, and historical importance. News of the coin's existence spread rapidly. Collectors across the country took a second look at their Michigan quarters. Auction houses received inquiries. Forums lit up with speculation about the coin's potential value. And then, the moment arrived. The coin was offered at a major numismatic auction, drawing interest from some of the biggest private collectors and investors in the hobby. The bidding started quickly and grew faster than anyone expected. People recognized that this was more than just a quarter, it was a once-in-a-generation coin. The competition was fierce. Each new bid broke expectations. And finally, as the hammer fell and the room settled into silence, the final price was announced. That single Michigan state quarter, minted in 2004, once worth just 25 cents, had sold for a jaw-dropping $48,000. That it was a moment that changed how people saw the state quarters program. It proved that even modern coins still technically in circulation, could reach astonishing levels of value. All it takes is the right combination of condition, rarity, timing, and a little bit of mystery, and maybe, just maybe, you already have something like it, because the truth is, stories like this begin with everyday people. Someone checking their spare change. Someone flipping through a coin album. Someone holding a Michigan quarter and taking just one extra second to really look at it. The outline of a state. The shimmer of the fields. The lakes that mirror back a piece of American geography and pride. So the next time a 2004 Michigan quarter ends up in your hand, don't just spend it without thinking. Don't toss it in a jar or drop it in a slot. Take a moment. Look at it closely. Because you never know when you might be holding the next piece of forgotten treasure. And who knows, maybe your quarter is the one that changes everything. Up next, the Arizona State Quarter, a coin minted like any other, tucked away in change purses, forgotten in car consoles, flipped into vending machines and laundromat machines. Just a quarter. Just 25 cents. Yet somehow, this single coin would go on to capture the imagination of collectors, historians, and even casual coin enthusiasts across the country. Because one of these little coins, against all odds, would eventually sell for a price that could stop anyone in their tracks. The year was 2008, the final chapter in a coin program that had taken America by storm, the 50 State Quarters Program. It was a decade-long celebration of America's diversity, geography, history, and beauty. Each year, 5 new quarters were released, each honoring one of the United States with a unique reverse design. It wasn't just about money anymore, it was about identity. State pride. A personal connection to the pocket change we all carry, and as the final state quarters rolled off the mint presses, Arizona's design joined the family. Now, this wasn't just a coin, it was the closing act in a national phenomenon. And for Arizona, the choice of imagery couldn't have been more perfect. Arizona's landscape is a portrait of extremes. From sun-scorched deserts to deep canyons that seem to stretch to the center of the earth, the state's natural features are like something from another planet. But they're real. Ancient. Untouched in places. And the Arizona State Quarter captured this essence with rare artistry. On the reverse of the coin is a sweeping view of the Grand Canyon, the iconic, layered monument to geological time. It's a place that humbles every visitor, a wonder that no photograph or painting can fully contain. In front of this grand expanse, towering saguaro cacti rise up, silent and strong, like ancient guardians of the desert. These cacti aren't just plants, they're symbols of the Southwest. They represent survival, patience, endurance. The composition of the coin is balanced, powerful, and deeply symbolic. It represents the power of time and the persistence of life. Below, in a bold banner, the words, Grand Canyon State, stretch across the coin's surface, with Arizona's date of statehood, 1912, quietly nestled above. The message is simple, but deeply rooted in place and pride. Designed by renowned U.S. Mint engraver Joseph Mena, the coin's fine detail is astonishing. Mena didn't just sketch a landscape, he breathed life into it through metal. You can almost feel the ridges of the canyon walls, the ribs of the cactus, the open space in the background where the sky would be, and on the obverse, as always, stands the enduring profile of George Washington, calm, poised, unchanging. Since 1932, Washington has watched over the quarter, and in 2008, he stood with Arizona, as its moment was forever captured in coinage. The Arizona quarters were minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and a smaller number of high-finish-proof versions were struck in San Francisco for collectors. In total, over 500 million Arizona quarters were released. That's 500 million coins, a staggering number. So how could just one of them rise above the rest? How could one quarter become something so rare and desirable that collectors would pay tens of thousands of dollars just to own it? That answer lies in a beautiful coincidence, the rare intersection of flawless preservation and a unique mint error. Somewhere along the way, as thousands of coins were pressed per hour, a tiny die crack formed on one of the minting dies. A nearly invisible imperfection. It didn't ruin the coin, far from it. Instead, it created a subtle raised mark near the arms of one of the saguaros, a mark that looked almost like a shadow stretching behind it. Not intentional. Not expected. But suddenly, this coin, still perfect in every other way, had something that no other coin had. A story. A mystery. A one-of-a-kind visual element that would set it apart from hundreds of millions. This small anomaly became known among collectors as the Cactus Shadow variety. But rarity alone wasn't enough. What truly elevated this coin to legend was its condition. Most coins enter the world and instantly begin the process of wear. They get scratched, scuffed, rubbed down as they pass through hand after hand. But this single Arizona quarter, avoided all of that. Maybe it was sealed inside a mint roll and never opened. Maybe a sharp-eyed collector plucked it from circulation the moment it appeared. However it happened, this coin was untouched. Its surface, pristine. Its luster, brilliant. Its details, razor-sharp and completely unmarred. When it was submitted for grading, it received the highest possible honor, MS 70, Mint State 70, the perfect grade. A nearly impossible rating, especially for a modern circulating coin. MS 70 means 0 imperfections under 5x magnification. Not one nick. Not a single flaw. Combine that with the Cactus Shadow variety, and you now have something beyond rare. The numismatic world lit up. Online forums buzzed with speculation. Collectors whispered about the find. And eventually, the coin made its way to a major auction house, where the true test began. Would it sell? Would collectors truly recognize its value? The answer came quickly. As the auction began, bids poured in. Slowly at first. Then rising. Then escalating. The room grew quiet with tension. Every bidder knew what was at stake. This wasn't just about owning a coin. It was about owning a moment. A combination of natural beauty, national pride, and nearly impossible minting luck. And then the final bid came in. The room held its breath. And the gavel came down, that single, flawless, quietly unique 2008 Arizona State Quarter, with a face value of just 25 cents, sold for a staggering $39,000. Up next, the 2016 Harper's Ferry State Quarter, a coin that may appear as just another everyday quarter at first glance, but this particular coin has a fascinating story that will surely surprise you. Unlike other state quarters, this one carries not just artistic value, but also historical weight. For those in the world of numismatics, it holds particular interest due to an error that occurred during minting. But before we dive into the exceptional qualities that set this coin apart, let's first understand the historical significance of Harper's Ferry and why it was chosen to be commemorated on a U.S. quarter. Harper's Ferry, located in West Virginia, holds an iconic place in American history. Situated at the confluence of the Potomac and Shenandoah rivers, Harper's Ferry has seen countless important events that shaped the country. Perhaps most famously, it was the site of John Brown's raid in 1859. Brown, a fervent abolitionist, led an armed assault on the federal armory in an attempt to incite a rebellion against slavery. While the raid ultimately failed, it is widely regarded as one of the significant sparks that led to the American Civil War. The emotional and ideological significance of this event made Harper's Ferry a prime candidate to be featured in the U.S. Mint's America the Beautiful Quarters program. The year 2016 marked the final year of the program, and Harper's Ferry was one of the last locations to be featured. The quarter was designed to honor the site's role in American history, and its design was based on John Brown's fort, the very location where the raid took place. The fort became a symbol not just of the raid itself, but of the broader struggles for freedom that defined much of American history. The fort's inclusion on the coin is a fitting tribute to those who fought for freedom, and it reflects the spirit of resilience that defines the American experience. The coin's reverse side features an impressive engraving of John Brown's fort, with its distinct brick structure rising against the backdrop of the Appalachian Mountains. The fort is portrayed in great detail, capturing the essence of its place in history. The saguaro cactus appears in the foreground, a symbol of the natural beauty of the American landscape, reminding us of the vastness and diversity of the country. The coin is inscribed with the words, Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, and John Brown's Fort, placing this remarkable site firmly within its historical and geographical context. On the obverse side of the coin, as with all quarters in a U.S. Mint series, the familiar profile of George Washington is featured. Washington's image represents the ideals of liberty, democracy, and the birth of a nation, a perfect contrast to the stories of conflict and struggle that the Harper's Ferry quarter encapsulates. His likeness stands as a constant reminder of the founding principles of the United States, even as the nation continued to evolve in the face of such divisive issues as slavery and civil rights. The release of the Harper's Ferry quarter in 2016 was part of a broader initiative by the U.S. Mint to honor the most significant landmarks in the country. Each coin in the program represents a national park or historical site that holds particular meaning to America's heritage. In total, 56 different quarters were released over the course of the program, featuring sites from every state, U.S. territory, and Washington, D.C. While most of the coins in this series were standard issue, one in particular, this Harper's Ferry quarter, stood out due to its minting error and the rare coin value it would eventually attain. The first thing to note is that the Harper's Ferry quarter was released in vast numbers. Millions of these coins were produced, minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and distributed across the country. These quarters were largely used in day-to-day transactions, purchased in stores, inserted into vending machines, or collected in coin jars as part of routine exchanges. But amid this sea of circulating coins, there was one very special example that would defy expectations and eventually become an object of incredible value for collectors. You see, errors in coin production are rare, but they do happen. When they do, these mistakes often make certain coins highly sought after because of their uniqueness. In this case, the Harper's Ferry quarter featured a die clash error. What is a die clash? Well, during the minting process, two dies are used to strike the design into the coin, one for the obverse, front, side and one for the reverse, back, side. Sometimes, these dies inadvertently come into contact with each other during the striking process, leaving an impression or shadow on the coin that was never intended to be part of the design. This was the case with the 2016 Harper's Ferry quarter. The die clash resulted in an extra, faint design imprint near the John Brown's Fort and saguaro cactus, creating a sort of shadow effect that could be seen clearly only under magnification. While die clashes are not incredibly rare, finding one on a coin that's still in circulation and in mint condition is what made this particular Harper's Ferry quarter so special. The coin was found in pristine condition, completely free of any damage or wear, which made it an even rarer find. Most coins, after circulating in pockets or being handled in vending machines, usually show signs of use, such as scratches, dings, or other imperfections. But this one was essentially flawless, making it an even more remarkable piece. The perfect condition of the coin was what ultimately made it stand out from the millions of others that had been minted. This coin was sent for grading to a professional numismatic service, where it was carefully inspected and analyzed. The final grade of MS 70 was awarded to the coin. For those unfamiliar with coin grading, an MS 70 grade is the highest possible rating a coin can receive. It means the coin is perfect, free of any flaws, scratches, or defects, even under magnification. Only a tiny percentage of coins ever receive such a high grade, and it's a particularly rare occurrence for a coin that has been in circulation, as they are often subject to wear and tear. Once the 2016 Harper's Ferry quarter was graded at MS 70, it quickly became the subject of intense interest in the world of coin collectors. And as soon as it was listed for sale, the bidding war began. Collectors from around the world recognized the significance of this rare coin, not just because of the die clash error, but because of its perfect condition and historical value. The auction was intense, with bids climbing higher and higher as more and more collectors realized they were bidding on a coin that could represent a turning point in numismatics. When the final bid was placed and the hammer fell, the 2016 Harper's Ferry State Quarter had sold for an astonishing $29,000. This coin, with its face value of just 25 cents, had become a true treasure, showing the extraordinary value that can be hidden in something as ordinary as a piece of pocket change. The story of this coin is a reminder that in the world of coin collecting, the value of a coin is not just determined by its metal content or face value, but by its rarity, condition, and historical significance. So, the next time you hold a Harper's Ferry quarter in your hand, take a closer look. You never know, you might just be holding onto a piece of American history worth far more than 25 cents. But remember, it's not only about finding a rare coin, it's about understanding the deeper meaning behind the coin itself. The Harper's Ferry quarter is not just a tribute to a historic landmark, it's a symbol of the past that resonates with the struggles, triumphs, and enduring spirit of the American people.